The biggest change heading into episode 5 is Joe's attitude. Joe has spent much of season 3 dealing with threats that seem to come from every direction. But now she has a target. The official episode setup says Joe leads the hunt as her team exposes a hidden network operating through covert handlers. That is a major development. This isn't just about finding one person anymore. Joe is hunting a network. And a network means connections. Handlers. Operatives. People providing information. People receiving orders. And somewhere at the top could be the person Joe has been searching for all along. The promo appears to be setting up Joe as the aggressor. And that could be exactly what the enemy has been waiting for. Now let's talk about the phrase, hidden network. This could be the key to the entire episode. Joe may discover that the people she has been tracking are not actually the masterminds. They're simply pieces of the operation. Think about how difficult that would make Joe's job. She captures one person. That person gives her another name. That person leads to another handler. And eventually Joe realizes that she's dealing with an organization that has been operating quietly for a long time. That's where the title, The Idiot Army, becomes interesting. Who exactly are the idiots? My theory is that they could be people being manipulated by someone much smarter. They may believe they're working independently. But they're actually serving a larger operation. And if that's true, Joe could have a very difficult time figuring out who is genuinely loyal and who has been compromised. Joe isn't the only person trying to understand what's happening. The official setup also places Kaitlyn and Westfield in the middle of the investigation as they assess the growing threat. And I think their storyline could be extremely important. Joe is in the field. She's seeing the individual pieces. Kaitlyn and Westfield can step back and look at the bigger picture. That gives them a different perspective. They may discover that the network isn't limited to one operation. It could connect to political figures, intelligence assets, financial interests, or people inside institutions that should have been protected. And if Kaitlyn and Westfield discover that the threat is much larger than expected, Joe's mission could suddenly become a national security emergency. That is significant because it suggests the episode isn't just going to be a conversation-heavy intelligence episode. We're likely going to see the field operation continue. Grady, Tucker, and Alex could be involved in the more tactical side of the mission. And if Joe is leading the hunt, there's a good chance the team will be moving against someone rather than simply collecting information. That means we could be heading toward another major confrontation. And with Lioness, you never know when an operation is about to turn into chaos. There is another reason Joe could be in serious danger. She's getting closer to the truth. And in espionage, information can be more dangerous than weapons. If Joe discovers who is running the network, she becomes a major threat. The enemy may not simply want her stopped. They may want her captured. And that's where the disturbing future we've already seen becomes important. We know Joe's story eventually reaches a point where she is in serious danger. So every successful operation could actually be pushing her closer to that fate. She wins the battle, but exposes herself to the enemy. She captures an operative, and the people above that operative realize Joe is getting close. She uncovers the network, and suddenly the network starts hunting her. So, heading into Lioness Season 3 Episode 5, here's what I'm expecting. Joe goes on the offensive. The hidden network begins to emerge. Kaitlyn and Westfield start seeing the bigger picture. Grady, Tucker, and Alex remain involved in the field operation. The question of a possible mole becomes even more important. Neil continues struggling with Joe's dangerous career. And Joe could discover that the enemy has been much closer than anyone realized. But my biggest prediction is this: Joe is going to win a battle in Episode 5, but that victory could put her in even greater danger. Because the moment she exposes the hidden network, the people behind it will know exactly who is hunting them. And that's when the hunter could become the hunted. So what do you think? Is Joe going to expose the mastermind in Episode 5? Could there be a mole inside the CIA? Who do you think the idiot army really refers to? And do you think Jo is walking straight into the trap that eventually leads to her capture? Let me know your theories in the comments. If you're enjoying our Lioness Season 3 coverage, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because we'll be covering the next trailer, spoilers, predictions and episode breakdown. Jo is finally going on the offensive. But in Lioness, the most dangerous moment is often when you think you've won.